All right, welcome to question 17 of the AAMC preview practice test review, and let us jump right into it. All right. For one of your classes, you must work in four-person groups to complete weekly assignments. Your group has been dividing the workload equally across members. The group has been meeting once weekly to combine the individual pieces. However, this week, two group members got into an argument and neither wants to attend the meeting this week. It seems unlikely that the assignment could be completed between you and the remaining group member. Okay, so what's our main conflict here? Well, the main problem is, we clearly see there's a conflict between two members of our team, and this is jeopardizing our possibility of completing a group activity this week, right? And another thing to kind of note, and we've seen this in other scenarios where we are working as part of a team, whenever we are kind of in this group setting, teamwork is really, really important. And putting the team ahead of your individual interests is vital. The main thing here is not to try to make sure our grade is okay. The main issue is our team is under conflict, and resolving that conflict is paramount to resolving the issue, right? So one of the first questions we're going to look at, right, when we jump into 17.1 is, are we addressing the main problem, right, which we've asked multiple times so far, right, in our initial differentiation, right? We've asked, are we taking steps to resolve or address the main problem? But in this scenario, because we are part of a team and there's a conflict in that team, taking steps to address the main problem means taking steps to resolve that conflict. So with that said, let's jump into 17.1. Tell the course instructor about the situation and ask for an extension on the assignment. All right, so let's ask to make our initial differentiation. Are we addressing the main problem, which is the conflict, right? Are we addressing the conflict and trying to make it better and taking steps to resolve it? Yeah, with this response, we aren't really sure, right? We aren't directly addressing the conflict, which doesn't really bode well for our effectiveness rating, but we're not entirely sure if we are addressing it very, very directly. So, that one's not as clear. Let's go to this one. Let's go to this third question. How likely is this response to create a problem or make the situation worse? Well, let's see. So one thing we are clearly doing, right, which is not very good, is that we are going to the course instructor without talking and discussing with our team first, right? Even though we're part of this group assignment, we really are not consulting with our team and acting on behalf of them without their opinion and asking what they want to do. This could create more conflict, right? Doing this action without consulting them first. That combined with the fact that we're not directly addressing the main problem, it's not a very strong answer to address the situation, but we're not totally making things worse. This is going to be somewhere in the middle, right? That's what my instinct tells me. So I'm going to put this into a 2 or a 3 response, and let's see how to differentiate between a 2 and 3, right? Are we taking personal responsibility for solving the problem? Are you offering a solution in the main problem? How are we impacting relevant stakeholders? What is the likelihood of causing a problem? And are you fulfilling your responsibilities? Well, we said there was some likelihood of causing a problem, right? How are we impacting relevant stakeholders? Well, if you, that's also not too clear, right? That's not too clear. I think one really clear question we can use is, are we offering a solution to the main problem? And remember, we've already discussed, right? The main problem here is a conflict between our two members, and addressing that conflict, trying to resolve that conflict, that's what it means to offer a solution to the main problem. And because we're not doing that, because we're not offering a solution, this is going to be a 2 response, right? It's not going to be able to improve the situation. And with the with the discussion we've had on the potential problems or downsides of this response, that's going to fit this into a ineffective response. All right. Let's jump into 17.2. Tell the two group members to stop acting immaturely and attend the weekly meeting. Okay, so let's start back. Are we addressing the main problem, right? Are we addressing the main problem, which is the conflict between our team members? Well, to some extent we are, right? To some extent, we are trying to get our teammates to work together, right? And we are telling them to attend the weekly meeting, but also very critically, we're not trying to solve the conflict, right? All we're doing is telling them to come to the meeting. We're not trying to have them understand each other's opinions or, holding some sort of and really addressing the conflict itself. All we're trying to do is have them come to the meeting, but we are, talking to them and trying to make sure our project goes right. Once again, I'm going to put this into a 2 or a 3. All right. So how do we differentiate between a 2 and a 3? And you can definitely read these. We talked about this one a little bit, right? Are we offering a solution to the main problem? We're somewhat doing that, somewhat. I think a very important piece here is how are we impacting relevant stakeholders? Now look how this question is phrased, right? Tell the two group members to stop acting immaturely. Those are very strong words to use in a response, right? They're very strong words to use in a response. And do we really know that this is an immature argument? Well, we don't really know that, right? We don't know what the argument was about. Maybe it was something more serious, and it's not just a matter of them being immature, right? Because we don't know that, the way we're saying and talking to our two group members here, we're not giving them respect, right? We're not treating them with respect. So how are we impacting the stakeholders, which are our two teammates here? We definitely have a lot of stakeholders, but with these two group members, we're not treating them with respect. And that combined with not really addressing the conflict itself, that gives us another 2 response, right? It puts us in a scenario where we are not going to be improving the situation, and there are downsides to the problem, potential downsides. That's going to be a 2 response, or an ineffective response. All right. 17.3. Ask the two group members to set aside their differences for the sake of the project. Okay, let's start back to our initial differentiation. Are you taking steps to resolve or address the main problem? I think we're doing a better job here, right, of addressing the main problem, because we're really taking a more actionable step and being a little more clear on trying to have our teammates move past their conflict. Therefore, my intuition tells me this is going to be, a 3 or a 4 response. It's pretty good, and yeah, it's a pretty good response. We're not being disrespectful like we did in the last question. I'm going to put this into a 3 or 4. So how do we differentiate between a 3 and a 4? Well, you can read through these, right? You can read through these. I'm just going to highlight some of the, we're doing some good things, right? To what degree are we prioritizing teamwork? We're definitely trying to have people work together. We are being open to conversation, trying to, make sure that, and we're talking to our group members. One very key thing, right? And let's remind ourselves what the difference is between a 3 and a 4, right? A 3 response could help, but will not significantly improve the situation. A 4 response will significantly improve the situation, right? So it's a matter of probability, and it's a matter of degree. Here in this question, what we're doing is although we're asking the two group members to set aside their differences, we're not really getting to the heart of resolving the conflict, right? We're still not getting past and trying to mediate what the root problem here is. And we have this question in our 3 to 4. Are you addressing the root cause of the problem? Why is this an important question? Well, remember, the difference between a 3 and a 4 is the probability and the degree to which we're improving the situation. And if we're addressing the root cause, there's going to be a higher chance to improve the situation. Because we're not addressing the root cause of the conflict, right? We're just trying to get them to move past their differences. That means that it's not as likely to work and foster that team environment that's going to lead us to best complete the project. So this is going to be an effective response. It's because it's less likely to work because it's not addressing the root conflict. Ideally we'd address that in order to move forward, and that's the main problem, right? The main problem is the conflict. So addressing that is really key, and addressing that effectively and at its core is very key for a 4 response. All right, 17.4. Tell the course instructor. Oh, this is 17.5. What am I doing? Let's go back. All right. 17.4. Remind the 2 group members that you all need to work together to complete assignments. Okay, this is giving off similar vibes to the last question, right? To 17.3. Remind the 2 group members you all need to work together to complete assignments. Are we addressing the conflict? To some degree we are, right? To some degree we are addressing the conflict. We're trying to get everyone to work together. So I'm going to put this into a 3 and a 4. But if you remember what we just talked about, right? And let's use the same reasoning, right? We are not addressing the root cause here. We're not addressing the conflict between the 2 group members. And because we're not doing that, there is a less likely chance to overcome the main problem. And because there's a less likely chance, it does not cross into the very effective threshold. This is going to be another effective response, really for the same reasoning we used in the previous question. It's less likely to improve the situation to resolve the main problem. All right, 17.5. Tell the course instructor about the situation and ask if the individual pieces of work can be submitted separately. All right, so this is taking me back to 17.1, right, where we're not really we're unsure if we're addressing the conflict, right? It doesn't really tell us that. And we are talking to the instructor before talking to our team members, right? And that could be a problem. Another thing is we're definitely prioritizing our own needs and over the needs of our team, right? Because we're asking to submit individual pieces. So we can be graded fine, but our team members might not be able to. We're really just looking out for ourselves in this response, right? Nonetheless, it is an actionable step, and the cons aren't as obvious and overt as we've seen in some other very ineffective answers. I'm going to put this into a 2 or 3, right? There are some pros, but there's also some cons, right? All right, so how do we differentiate between a 2 and a 3? And, I'm going to go back to how we kind of answered 17.1. Are we offering a solution to the main problem? Remember, the main problem is the team conflict, right? The conflict between the 2 members. That is the main problem here. The main problem isn't our grade being impacted, right? You when you're in a team situation in these questions, we really need to think of the team as a responsibility to maintain the team cohesion and make sure everyone in your team is progressing and doing well. Because of that, we are not offering a solution to the main problem. This is going to be a 2 response. All right, it's going to be oh my god. Sorry, that check was. All right, this is going to be a 2 response. All right. Let's go back. 17.6. Ask the group member who has contributed most to work with you and the remaining group member. Okay, so let's go back, to our initial differentiation. Are we addressing the main problem, right? Are we taking steps to address the main problem? Clearly, we are not, right? The main problem is a conflict. We are not taking steps to address the conflict. Actually, the opposite. This could cause more conflict, right? We're kind of taking sides. This is going to cause more conflict within the group. We're making the teamwork, we're dividing the team even further. This is going to be a 1 or 2 response. All right, so how do we differentiate between a 1 and a 2? All right, to what extent are you recognizing there's an issue, offering a solution, or relinquishing your responsibilities? We're not offering any type of solution, right? There's clearly over consequences because one of our team members is going to suffer and our team itself is going to suffer because we are taking sides, more or less. We're disengaging from the problem. We're disengaging from offering a solution, right? And we are being rude to our team member who is going to be excluded. All these kind of guide me towards very clearly this is going to be a 1 answer. All right. And last question, 17.7. Ask the course instructor if you can be reassigned to a different group. Okay, so once again, are we addressing the main problem? Are we taking steps to address the main problem? No, right? We're not taking steps to address the conflict in the least. Actually, what we're doing is we're disengaging, right? We're disengaging from our responsibilities to our team. Not only that, there's very clear consequences for our team, right? We are supposed to do 1/4 of the work. And if we're not doing that and we're going to be reassigned, our team is going to suffer. Combined with the fact we're disengaging, this is also going to be a 1 response. Very ineffective. All right. I hope all that was clear. Please let me know in the comments if you want me to go over anything, explain something better. I can always make another video. Please like and share if you can. And thank you all for watching. I'll see y'all for question 18.